Well, I started out in the industry about a little over a decade ago. I actually started out in oil and gas energy. I worked for a company called Halliburton when I first started, and that's where I kind of had my first exposure to cranes, just simply building frac sites and working with cranes there. Um, I was able to when I left the oil fields, I start working for a subcontractor for a crane company called RMS Cranes, and eventually was offered a full-time position with RMS Cranes as a driver or rigger, and that's where I really got exposure to building every type of crane there was. We had our tower crane division, our wind and renewable energy division, our taxi crane division, and I wanted to get experience in all of it. So I would take a semi truck and chase whatever crane they needed me to chase, and from there I was inspired to get more training, and I went into the local 9 out of Denver, IUOE, and had the opportunity to get my crane certifications, and I operated cranes. And then eventually I moved over to Mammut. I was working in their wind and renewable energy in Texas, and I was able to mostly tailing cranes. I got to was learning how to operate their LR 1300 and Manitowoc 13,000, and then at that time, I had opportunities presented to me to step into the operational management of another company. I had started to really network myself out there, get involved in LinkedIn and socially, see what other options were out there. And I was offered an opportunity to come and run logistics and operations for a company called MO Crane Group regionally for their wind and renewable energy division. Um, and during that time, I also had an offer from Vita, my current employer, to be an advisor for them. They um, started out in the aerospace side. We moved to the industrial side, and in the industrial side, it's a different market, of course, and they wanted to bring more awareness and expertise in to guide them as they went to market with this new product. And I was offered about a year after that. I was offered an opportunity to work full time. I've been with Vita going on 4.5 years now, and I did at the time. I started out as a product training and working directly with the sales team. My focus was to develop the educational training side of our product, because what we found is, even though it's a simple product, when you really look at how it works and how it functions, we're working with teams and riggers and operators that have, a lot of times they have 15, 20, 30 years of experience, and um, it can be intimidating to see something very, new, and even though it's
New.
innovative,
Yep.
yeah, it's different. You've never been able to do it. A lot of times when I go to a site and I'm training a team, for example, or one of my colleagues is training a team, what we find is that we're really just trying to make everybody comfortable, get to know them, and let them know, hey, you don't need to be intimidated by the product. And then from there, we're going back to the basics of their training, right? We're saying, hey, remember when we talked about those sling angles? Remember when we talked about those rigging things that you may have never been able to really worry about because you've always been doing it this way? Well, let's get creative with that. Let's see how we can rig differently, let's see how we can implement this in there, because we are a lot of times adding, for example, a spreader beam in a scenario where we may never have had a spreader beam, because with our technology, you need at least what I call two hands on the load, right? And if you only have one, it's just one point for the load to spin around on, and that's what a hook is, right? But with two, down to our system and then down to the load, we have to look at our inward angles, our outward angles, and things like that. So we're really just getting back to what we've always done and what we already know. And then from there, we're guiding teams to be able to think outside the box, right? So yeah, when I came on with Vita, that was our primary thing, is how do we connect with clients and really get them to buy in and to expand their thinking on how to use not only our tech, but how to, get more creative with how they already rig loads. And that's one of the most exciting parts of my job. And then that expanded into what I do today. I'm a part of our sales team, and I bridge that gap, between our operations team, our engineering team, um, because I come from different backgrounds, different technical level backgrounds. I come from operations. I'm in touch with our industry, being that I worked in it, and I have a lot of those relationships. And then, of course, I want to bring that out to new clients, and I want them to buy in and utilize our product and make things better for them.